What's up, everybody? This is Kelly Cook with Everything Phoenix. We are live, YouTube Live, my favorite time of the week. And we're trying a different time today. We're trying actually the lunch hour here, which is noon Pacific time here in Arizona. And guys, thank you for joining us today. We're going to discuss basically the standoff in housing. What's going on? The standoff between supply and demand. What's going on there? And some bold predictions, by the way, with that. Are the investors disappearing? Are they finally cooling off? Are they choosing not to invest in Arizona real estate again, or at least for the time being, because maybe rates, because they see a slowdown? So, is that an opportunity, given the fact that there's still not a whole lot of supply? Is that an opportunity for someone who is just, a regular old buyer to jump in and get a good deal? A deal meaning they can dictate terms better, things of that nature. So I think it is. I think it is a good opportunity, right? I'll just kind of spoil that a little bit, but there's some interesting predictions going on here with the housing market. So we're going to look at it today, and we're going to try to decipher what in the world exactly is going on. So we're going to jump in here as always, guys. Now, we subscribe to the Cronford Report, but before we get to the housing market, I want to talk about some bold predictions that have been made by a famous person that you all probably know, and to see kind of what your thoughts are on this, because it just so happens that her prediction kind of lines up to an extent with mine. So I want to share this with. I'm going to share our screen here. We're going to go over and show you exactly what I'm talking about. So here we go. Okay. We have my gal Barbara Corcoran. Okay. One of the Shark Tank. So a lot of you guys, obviously know, are very familiar with her. She has a bold prediction. Now, here's what she has to say: that house prices won't fall and could soar 15% when mortgage rates drop. When mortgage rates drop. Well, when will that be? Well, no one knows, but obviously most people think that rates are going to drop sometime in 2024, because as the economy starts to stall, which it will at some point, that's what the Fed wants to do. It's not a secret. And they're doing or trying to make this happen by obviously increasing the federal funds rate, which therefore has an indirect effect on people's borrowing power, which then affects their purchasing power. And if they can buy less, then they won't do it. They won't buy anything. And therefore, the economy will start to slow down, keeping prices hopefully from escalating out of control. Now, with that, you have the unemployment rate. Okay. The unemployment rate currently is actually increasing. It increased in August. And now, when September's come out, that will be interesting to see what happens, because hopefully the September sounds bad, right? But hopefully the employment rate goes up again, like it did in August. And therefore, the Fed signals that, well, it's working. Unemployment rate is slowing down. And employment is slowing down. And therefore, maybe we can stop hiking rates. Because as of right now, guys, we are fully anticipating the Fed to raise the interest rates again, at least one more time before the end of 2023. So Barbara Corcoran gets on here and she says that she thinks that they could soar 15% when rates come down. So here's a couple things. Home prices won't drop. They could surge 15% once rates fall. There's a shortage of homes for sale. People don't want to give up their cheap mortgage rates. Duh. The housing market is in good shape, and buyers will pounce once rates drop in 2024 at some point, is kind of what they're saying. So here's what she said. She goes on to say, I can tell you this: house prices are not going to come down. The Shark Tank investor and real estate tycoon told Good Morning America. And there's a lot of reasons for this, right? But she goes on to say that Corcoran stated to say that all hell's going to break loose once Fed cuts the rates and mortgages get cheaper. Guys, I think that's very plausible. I do. And here's why. Now, we talked about this a couple of times, but I'll say it again, because again, right now, how many people in America have mortgages? Well, right now, let's get even more granular. I've done the research on this. How many people in America have mortgages that have a interest rate on their mortgage of 4% or less? Okay, we know it's about 62%. All right, 62%, and that's with the people that actually have mortgages. 42% of homeowners don't even have debt on their house. They don't have mortgages. So the remaining pool, 58%, about 62% of those have a rate of 4% or less. That is a staggering number. That's a total of about 79 to 80% of all homeowners that have no debt or debt at 4% or less. So that's causing the supply imbalance right now, because who wants to give that up to? So to Barbara's point, if rates come down next year and we still have the same issue of supply, which we probably will, because obviously these rates for most of these mortgages are fixed. Okay. And household formation is still occurring, and homes take a while to build. We're going to have a little problem on our hands. Now, if the Fed achieves this soft landing, which I can't imagine they will because they almost never do get it right, then that will be better. That will help. But to do that, they're trying to balance when the unemployment rate goes up, and they're kind of and then kind of curtail it off so we don't go into recession, and no one can get jobs. Obviously, no one can make money. So it's a fine balancing act, guys. But I think her prediction, has some merit to it. I really do. So as we go back on here and we share my screen, let's go back to this article. She thinks every buyer is on the sideline is going to jump into the market as long as interest rates come down to 5 or 4%. Okay. The housing market is as strong as ever, she said, although she would noted it would be wise to wait until next year to sell. That's interesting. When all the buyers come off the sidelines. Okay. So it makes sense, right? Investors touted the health of the housing market before. In June, she suggested home prices could jump as much as 20% once interest rates drop by 2 percentage points. This is interesting, right? So now let's kind of look at rates. Okay. So we think that's a real thing. Well, here's the rates right now. We're at 7.29% on a 30-year fix. Okay. This is Mortgage News Daily. This is a great site to go to if you get your information on interest rates and what they're doing. It has articles up here as well that kind of dictate as to why they're moving up or down for that day or whatnot. But they're going down for the day here, but they're still hovering around 7.29%. Now, obviously, this is for a paper. This is like the credit that, if you're putting a boatload of money down, you have amazing credit and so on and so forth. So the average person probably isn't even able to experience a 7.29% today. They're probably looking more like a 7.5%, my guess would be. So this is interesting, but what's going to happen when the market goes down? And I think she is on to something. So this will be interesting to see how this plays out. Now, if we go back over to the Crawford report here, I want to talk about affordability here in a second. But here's the Crawford Market Index. Okay. Right now, it's about a 155. Now, we know, right, with a balanced market, the Crawford, because we subscribe to the Crawford report. And if you're new to this channel, they are the local foremost authority when it comes to economic data for housing market in Arizona. Okay. So they can't be top. They can't be, they track it all. There's nothing in it for them. There's no hidden agenda. Like, they're not trying to sell ads. They sell subscriptions to people like me. And if we pay them, they're good. They're going to put that information out regardless if it's good or bad. But a balanced market for their CMI is 90 to 110. Anything below 90 would be a buyer's market. If it's above 110, it's actually a seller's market. Okay. So now if you go back over here and you see the Crawford Market Index, right now you can see the path it's taken over the past several months. But right now it's at 155 on the CMI, the Crawford Market Index. But it's coming down. In general, it's coming down, right? And so where we'll end up will be interesting, but it's still a seller's market because there's just not supply. There's not supply. There's still decent demand, even with rates being at 7.5. So to what Barbara Corcoran's point is that what's going to happen when you drop those rates a little bit? Holy cow, it could get real interesting, right? It could get real interesting. So by the way, guys, sidebar real quick. If you have any comments, leave it. Have any questions, leave it. If you're thinking it, someone else is thinking it too. Don't be shy. Let us know where you're watching from if you don't mind it either. And if you're watching the replay, comment below. Let us know what your thoughts on all of this are. And if you're watching live, thank you. Thank you for the support. Please comment if you have any questions. All right. Now, I'm going to jump over here to this graph because this is the most recent data. Now, this is a lot. It's like, whoa. So let me just cut to the chase and help you out. The median price, okay, for the annual sales so far this year for the Crawford report puts the median price in the Phoenix area, greater Phoenix area at $427,000. That's down $2,000 from $429. It's down about $6,000 from just a quarter ago. And then of course, last year it was up at $445. So it's at $427. It is slowly declining, right, on an annual sales basis. That's the median sales price. Now, what I did was I wanted to say, okay, if you're going to rent or buy, first of all, what's that payment? Okay. So I pull up the calculator here and let's go through this real quick. The median sales price today in the greater Phoenix area is $427. All right. Now, if you're putting 10% down, you have a desired loan amount of $384. Now, first of all, you have to have 10% down. That's the hard part, right? You have a desired loan amount of $384.3. If your interest rate was as good as 7.25, which again, we determined it probably wouldn't be that unless you were just like super A paper and someone putting 10% down is not getting that. So let's just go ahead and adjust that. Okay. be even more accurate. Okay. 30 years fixed. Property tax for that property is about $2,000 in Gilbert. We'll show you an example here. And a homeowner's insurance annually is about 1,000. HOA fees for this particular property is 152, and your credit score is, let's say, above a 680. Now, if you recalculate this, you can see your monthly mortgage payment is $2,687. Okay. That includes principal, interest, taxes, insurance, HOA fees, and PMI, brings it up to $3,321 a month. That's not cheap. Now, what do you get for that? You get these four properties. These are the only four properties in all of Gilbert, which is a phenomenal suburb in the Southeast Valley of the Phoenix area. There's four currently between 425 and 430 on the market for sale. So if it's the median price for a home right now, this is what you're getting. So let's go to the list report. You can see that kind of a view. But you're getting a 3-bedroom house. This one only has 2. This one has 2 bedrooms as well, with 2 bathrooms, between the ranges of 983 square feet up to as high as 1,740 square feet. This is the property I picked, and the HOAs are 152 a month. This is a little more, okay, in Cooley Station. And you have a tax amount of $1,979 a year in 2022. Now, they might be going down because values are decreasing a little bit, but probably not because, again, it's not decreasing much. You can't really bank on that. But this is what you're able to get in Gilbert, which is a great place to live by all intents and purposes. You know, for most people, no one really argue that Gilbert is a bad place to live. May not be your style, or you want to live in the West Valley, but overall, generally speaking, Gilbert's a great place. So this is what you're getting for the median sales price if you're going to buy a house today in Gilbert. Now, what if I go here and I go to Gilbert as well, and I say, you know what? Because we're all in on our price, what's 3,300 to 3,500 get us in rent? Okay, in Gilbert, there are 6 properties in Gilbert right now between that price range of 3,300 and 3,500 a month. So right now, if you look at it, here they are. So you're getting a 5-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 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 3 is a 3-2 here, 1,800 square feet. But guys, you're getting a house as large as, look at this one here, for $3,500 a month, and on Euclid Avenue, you can get a house for 3,900 square feet, 4-bedroom, 4.5 bathroom home, rented, unfurnished, long term. Okay, 2,400 square feet, 2,700 square feet, 2,700 square feet, 3-car garage, 3-car garage. Now go back to the houses that are available for sale. 2-car garages, 2-car garages, 3 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, between 1,000 and 1,700 square feet. Whereas on the rental side, again, is between 4 bedrooms, or I guess 3, up to 5 bedrooms, with 4.5 bathrooms, and as big as potentially 4,000 square feet. So to rent a house right now is cheaper, okay? Because you get more bang for your buck. Now, if you went onto the multiple listing service or some other portal and looked at the rentals in Gilbert that were the same size as the houses you can buy, so say something that's 3-2, 1,500 square feet, the rental price will be less. It might be 2,500 square feet, 2,600 square feet. I'm sorry, $25 a month or $2,600 a month, saving you $600 to $700 a month than if you bought. Now, obviously, I'm a big proponent of buying homes. I think homeownership is huge, and it's big and changes lives over time in terms of net worth and what it does for you. So I think it's, generally speaking, always better to buy, generally speaking. But for your current situation, maybe if you need a bigger house because you have a bunch of kids or you have a lot of family always visiting you or whatever it is, maybe it's a better time to rent just for the intern. Here's the only problem, though. If Barbara Corcoran and some other people who are very smart in the real estate world, like your host here, kind of, are right, if we are right, then prices will go up. I think 15% is probably a little bold, but for Phoenix, I'm saying at least 10%. And if they go up between now and the end of 2024, 10 to 15%, you're going to miss out on that equity, that net worth building for yourself. So if you can afford a payment of $3,300 a month and you can survive on a smaller house, maybe, just maybe, buying a house will still make sense. Because if it goes up 10% and you buy it for $427, I mean, I'm not great at math off the top of my head, but that's about $42,000 that potentially his house will increase in the next literally just 14 to 15 months or so. That puts your equity now from a $427,000 house up to, what, 460, $470,000 in just 14, 16 months. So, guys, it's something to consider. Whereas if you just jump in in the short term to simply just have a more convenient lifestyle because you have a bigger house, or maybe you have a smaller payment because you can afford 3,300, but you really don't want to pay it, then maybe you miss out on that, and then you're looking to do something else a year from now when your lease comes up in 12 months. What do you do now? Do you now jump in when prices are 10% more, or do you rent again? And then when do you choose to get off that hamster wheel? That's the question that I think everyone needs to ask when it comes to homeownership now or not, based upon the rate situation. Obviously, don't get yourself into trouble. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. But if you can, there's some serious consideration to why you may want to do that, even though right now it seems compared to 2020 that prices are high, right? But according to 1970, prices are ridiculously high, right? So you can almost. I was talking to a buddy of mine who lives in California yesterday, and California prices, guys, are crazy. We all know that, right? California is nuts when it comes to the housing market. It goes up and down and jumps up big and goes down big. But he was saying, if you look at the last, he is a friend there that's a big investor, owns all kinds of real estate, and he did the research. He goes, if you look at the last 25 years in California as an example, there's some big swings up and down, right? But overall, it goes up. I think he was saying about 7% every single year. If you just take the average of all those years in the big picture, it goes like this. It is, even though it swings, it goes like this at an angle up, and probably will always continue to do so. So his point also was that if you look at those micro swings in the grand scheme of things, his point was that right now in California, like in the LA area, the market's still underbought. It's still underbought because if you took that straight line from a point in time and measured it across that spectrum of what it typically returns, we're below that because of how bad potentially the COVID market was, and then of course it came back, and the recession of 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right, 12, right, 11, 12. So it's interesting, right? Look at the data; it's interesting. So I would make the argument that in Phoenix, it's very much the same. Lori, what's going on? Where can I buy more for my money? Any recommendations? Yeah, I do. So let me pull up the map here. Let me share my screen, okay, with you guys. And it's a great question. We're going to pull this up, and let me show you the map real quick of what we're talking about. So right now we're talking about Gilbert, right? That's where we focused on for this little, example. But the East Valley overall is going to be a little more expensive than the West Valley. So if you're looking for bang for your buck, the area I like the most, I would say, there's a few different areas, but I would say you want to focus in the Northwest Valley. And if you're okay with something a little older, right in this Deer Valley area around the 101 north of Bell. That's a great area. If you look over, even in Peoria in general, down here is a little bit older, but it's a good area. And that you get a lot more bang for your buck. You just do. Now, North Phoenix up here, it's coming up a lot in terms of prices because of the TSMC, right? Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Plant that's being built right up here. It's increasing values up there significantly, but there's still a good bang for your buck up in North Phoenix, and it's growing, guys. If you buy something there, that's not a bad idea, strictly just for investment because of all the job activity and the suppliers for TSMC along the 303 here, and all that stuff that's going in is causing real estate prices to actually increase. That's a good bang for your buck. East Mesa is good too here. So obviously the higher price points you're looking at, Scottsdale right here, and Fountain Hills and this whole area right around here, right? This whole area in Northeast Valley is pretty pricey. So anyways, that's kind of what I want to show you guys for this purpose. Okay. So we're gonna go back now and talk about some development. So hopefully that made sense. Let me go back to the mortgage calculator one more time. Okay. That's what you're all in at $3,300 a month for that price. So it gives you a good idea if you should maybe be renting or buying. Okay. That was only my point of that aspect, that example, but hopefully gave you a really good perspective. Now, if you look back here, you can see a lot of red on this snapshot because things are not going in the right direction. Now, seasonally, let's talk about this, guys, because seasonally in Phoenix, that's typically kind of how it goes. Even if the market's been pretty solid, that's typically how it goes. So if something is going down right now, that's pretty normal from July to August, August to September. Now, what happens in October is yet to be seen. That will be interesting. That will be interesting because typically the market in October, November actually holds the line because the weather's getting cooler and people with money are coming back into the Phoenix market to potentially transact real estate. So that's a good thing. All right, now if I share my screen, let's talk about some development. What are investors doing right now, guys? I'm glad you asked. Okay. Because Valley sees a steep drop in investor home buying, report says. All right, there's obviously a picture of a house being built. And the new housing data could have Valley buyers breathing a sigh of relief. There could be opportunity for buyers, not investors, because investors are starting to get out. Okay. The Phoenix Metro saw a 65% year-over-year drop in home purchases by investors during the second quarter, according to new data from Redfin. That was among the biggest decrease in the nation, matching the declines in Vegas and Jacksonville and Atlanta and Charlotte. Okay. Phoenix saw 17% of home sales going to investors in the second quarter, down 32% from just a year prior. So this is interesting because you're starting to see less and less home flippers, and you're starting to see investors starting to withdraw. So guys, again, this is a good opportunity, I think, for many people who are just looking to buy a house and they're not looking to invest. And this will keep, hopefully, prices from escalating more in the short term. So this is a good thing for just regular home buyers, okay? Now, there's a few extra things here that are pretty cool. Scottsdale approves an agreement to help Rio Verde foothills residents. All right. Now, you knew I was going to get to this at some point, right? You probably heard this come out. It just came out today. Rio Verde's foothills, every drop of water matters to the residents living in the Rio Verde foothills, just outside of Scottsdale. So now, why have my map pulled up? You're right. Let me just show you this. Where is the Rio Verde foothills? All right. So I'm going to zoom in. You can see the Rio Verde up here, right? Here's Scottsdale, Northeast Valley. The Rio Verde foothills are really outside of right in here, this area where I'm drawing this polygon for you. Right about in here. Okay. That's primarily the Rio Verde foothills. That's where the big water issues are kind of happening the most, right in that section. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll zoom in a little more so you can see, but that's what we're talking about. Then you also have Rio Verde proper right here, which has no water issues when it comes to this. Then you have Trilogy right here, the old Vista Verde course that is being designed primarily by Toll Brothers and Shea Homes that has their own water supply as well, brand new construction. So really, you're talking about the Wildcat building all through here that occurred over the past decade or two. There are some wells out here, which is good, but there's also a lot of hauled water because some of these homes, in fact, a lot of these homes don't have a well, at least a well that's functioning correctly with plenty of water. So this is interesting. And so now you go back to the article, and now you have an idea of what we're talking about. The Scottsdale City Council approved an intergovernmental water agreement with the newly created Rio Verde Foothills Sandpipe District. So a standpipe district has now been created, and Scottsdale is going to back them up. Thank you. It's unanimous, the mayor said from Scottsdale. Okay, they approved it. And this is good news overall for Rio Verde residents. They're going to have their own water district, and now Scottsdale is going to back them until they get on their own feet. Scottsdale will allow Rio Verde Foothills to use its infrastructure and treat water provided to them by the water company EPCOR, charging the Standpipe District a base fee of $1,000 per month. Board members told ABC 15 they have a few more steps to complete, but they expect the water back on by the end of the month. This is a long time coming, to the vice chair of Rio Verde's Foothills Standpipe District Board. Okay, so pretty cool, guys. Pretty cool. All right, next one. Phoenix City Council allows homeowners to build casitas in their backyard with some limits. All right, minimal and modern tiny homes like this could pop up in Phoenix backyards now that a measure has passed the City Council. Construction of so-called accessory dwelling units. Okay, they voted 8-1 to allow this to happen. It's now much easier to build a casita in your home in Phoenix, even if you're maybe on a smaller lot, which is before you had these bigger lots, right, with the right zoning for that to happen. So ADUs are similar to a guest house, but the big difference is that these newly approved ADUs can have full kitchens and be livable on a full-time basis. This is hopefully going to solve, guys, some of the affordability issues currently in Phoenix, okay? And I believe they are not allowing Airbnbs on these ADUs. That was part of the deal. In fact, was that in the the limits. Let's see if I can get to it here. Yeah, I believe they don't. So I'll get back to you on this, guys, if it didn't say it in here, but I'm almost positive I read in the article that they are not allowing Airbnbs or VRBOs, short-term rentals, right, to occur on these ADUs, but they're allowing you to obviously build it on a lot, which is awesome. Okay, to try to help the problem. Now, as the baby boomer generation gets older, that also matters too, right? Because these people are trying to retire and they can't. If someone can't sell their house now to buy a bigger house for their in-laws, this will help relieve it because now they have the ability to potentially just build a casita on the backyard. That's pretty interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this actually plays out, right? I think so. All right. Google details plans on its huge data center underway in Mesa. Guys, Google's coming to the valley. They're already here, but they're having a bigger footprint, guys. So that's good for the employment of Phoenix, guys. Another one of the major companies that are coming here that are causing the demand to rise in the housing market and keeping the prices up. This is another major company doing that, right? $600 million for the data center out in Mesa for Google, right? Investing into the area. So pretty cool. Okay. Now, last but not least, because we're coming up on our time here, Chase Field. Okay. If you're looking for good old family fun entertainment, guys, go support the Diamondbacks. They're the cheapest. I shouldn't say that word, right? I love how they title this: the lowest cost for a family outing, according to the annual survey. Lowest cost, guys. Okay, out of any league in Major League Baseball. Families wanting to catch a Major League Baseball game at Chase Field in downtown Phoenix can also catch a bargain. All right, we covered this before. I'm going to keep it out there in front of you because the D-backs could use your support anyways, right? It cost a family of $170 to attend a ball game at Chase Field, up from $152 last year, but almost $100 below this year's league average of $266 for a family to go to a ball game. The analyst adds up the price of 4 average non-premium tickets and 4 of the lowest price sodas, 4 hot dogs, 2 beers, 2 hats, and the cost of parking at each team's stadium. At Chase Field, and then break it down, guys. The soda costs $2.99, hot dogs, blah, blah, blah. But the average ticket price for a D-backs game is only $24.47, right? Second lowest in MLB and nearly $13 below the average league, $37 this year, which is up 3.5%. So, guys, if you get a chance, there's an index. Boston's number one. That's no surprise, right? That's no surprise at all. Then you have New York right behind them. Go figure, right? Then you got Houston because you know why? They are winners. They keep winning World Series, right? So everyone wants to go. And so now demand drives that price up for the Houston Astros. By the way, playoff baseball is coming. I can't wait in October, okay? Right around the corner here, okay? But D-backs coming right behind the Miami Marlins at last for the most. But again, if you have a family of 4 or family whatever, it's the cheapest venue, guys. So go out and support the D-backs, your local D-backs, your local Major League Baseball team. I've been to a couple games. They're fun. And it's air conditioned, so that helps, right? Because it's hot. It's hot here in Phoenix in the summertime. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us on YouTube at our new time. We're going to experiment with this, so go ahead and like us, subscribe, because if you do, you'll get the notification sent to you, so you'll never miss a YouTube Live. And maybe you're busy and you can't hop in. That's okay. At least you'll get the push notification that we're on. So maybe if you have a few minutes to pop in and get some knowledge dropped on you, you can grab that and then buzz out if you need to. So, guys, thank you as always. I really appreciate the support on this channel. We're going to keep bringing you information that's timely to the market so you can make the most informed decision possible to know what's going on out there in the marketplace and what's coming down the pipe. That's equally just as important, so you can start preparing for the best decisions for you and your family. So, guys, thank you so much. And check us out next Thursday on YouTube Live. And again, if you're watching the replay, please comment below. Let us know what you think of all this. We will comment back and be sure to respond to you. So, guys, thank you so much. And as always, Phoenix, go ahead and just keep it classy. Until next time, guys, thank you.